Welcome back. So today I'm going to be talking about burns on the skin, and specifically these are thermal burns, or heat burns, because we do have other types of burns like chemical burns or electrical burns. So I'm going to be concentrating on um, thermal or heat burns. All right, so let's get started. So, what are the causes of burns? It could be fire or heat, chemicals, or electrical energy, which is due to electricity. And we often classify burns based on the depth of the burn or the extent of the burn. And we have degrees to this: first, second, and third degree burns. So for first degree burn, only the epidermis is damaged. So as you can see, the epidermis is a superficial layer. So there's going to be localized redness. There's going to be some sort of edema and pain. Sometimes you see some edema, not as severe as in second degree burn though. And we can see that in, having a sunburn, or, touching like, a hot iron, or hair tool. So that's where you're going to see the first degree burn. For second degree burn, you start to see blisters, and this is because the epidermis and the dermis are damaged. So both layers are damaged. And what do we end up seeing? If you remember, the blisters is actually due to the destruction of the areolar connective tissue, which we said play a role in inflammation. So all that fluid is going in there, and that's why you might see it a little bit in first degree burn. And another thing about second degree burn is that it's going to be painful, all right, because some of the not all, but some of the nerve endings might be damaged. Some the hair follicles would be damaged as well, because they're located in the dermis. The nerve endings, the nerve sensory receptors are both located in the dermis. So as you can see here, we can see the blisters on the hand. So for third degree burn, this means the entire thickness of the skin is involved. So the epidermis is gone, the dermis is gone, the hypodermis or the subcutaneous layer is gone. So we call this full thickness burn. I also forgot to mention that first and second degree, we do call it partial thickness burn, because the entire layers are not gone. And how can you differentiate this? The skin color is gray white. In third degree burn, it's going to be cherry red or blackened, like we're seeing in this picture, and there will be no edema. So someone might say, why is there no edema? Because the areolar connective tissue is gone. You have to understand, in second degree or first degree, parts of it is still remaining, but now all of it is gone, and it's not going to be painful. If you touch it, why would it not be painful? Because the nerve endings are gone. All right. In dermal, in second degree, you still have some nerve endings there. You still have some sensory receptors there. And you're going to need skin grafting for third degree burn. And the immediate concern, usually people think, oh no, there's a burn, even if this person was rolling around the dirt trying to get the fire off of them. The main concern is not infection. It's not infection. I repeat, it's not infection. Infection would take 24 to 48 hours to set in. The immediate concern is dehydration and electrolyte imbalance. One of the things that we see about the skin is that it's a barrier. It protects. It insulates, so that you're not losing all this fluid. But once that is gone, you're exposed to the element, and dehydration and electrolyte imbalance are immediate threats, because in about 4 to 6 hours, the body will go into circulatory shock because it has lost so much water, so much electrolyte. The kidney failure would occur. So this needs to be treated immediately. If this person was in the ER, we're going to, have them. We're going to just give them fluid overload, lots and lots of IV bags, so that they don't, and once we've stabilized them, then we can now talk about other, treatment like antibiotics and so on. So how do we estimate the extent and severity of burns? I'm sure you probably, seen, 20% of the skin is burned, 20% and 30%. Where is this number coming from? So we use what we call the rule of nines. And rule of nines, you can see here in this diagram, the anterior face at the neck, by the way, is 4.5. Posterior is another 4.5, meaning the anterior and posterior would be 9%. The anterior torso alone is 18%, and posterior will be 18%, giving us 36. Each limb, anterior and posterior, are 9% for the right and for the leg, for the right and for the left. The perineum is 1%, and then each limb, anterior and posterior, 9% each, giving us 18% for the right leg and for the left leg, and that's where we get the 100%. So let's say, for example, someone had just their anterior trunk 18% and their anterior left arm, that alone will give you, over about 25%. That would give you 25% burn. So this allows us to be able to estimate the fluid loss as well. So burns are critical if 25% have second degree burns. Okay, so even if you're just saying, well, it's just anterior trunk and the anterior arm, right arm, all of that is already critical, even though the rest of the body is not affected. If you have greater than 10%, that of third degree burns, if it's just, let's say the the right and left arm, anterior and posterior, with the perineum, 10%, that's already critical because there's third degree burns there. So the treatment would be debridement. Debridement meaning we're going to scrape off the dead layers, because there's no point in it being there. We're going to give them antibiotics because now the body is exposed to elements. We're going to give them a temporary skin covering. Pain management, because there are layers are going to be gone. So even though we're talking about full thickness burn, it's really rare for all layers. They usually go like in an oblique pattern. They don't go in a vertical pattern. So you're still going to give them pain management. You're going to be giving them wound care until healing has completed, and all of this will be, the skin graft will be done through surgery. So skin grafts really mean we're going to take skin from another part of the body to, and put it in the burnt area. In this situation, we rarely, doesn't mean it would never happen, we rarely would take skin from another person, just because, again, your immune system will realize it's not yours and is going to attack it. All right, so that's going to be it for burns. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you do, give it a thumbs up or subscribe if you want me to post more videos. Thank you. Bye-bye.